Balgabujra and Jimbalang Walul. Good morning, my many friends. A welcome is done to invite people to country and to place you on our land. And it also comes with a request that you do something for us local people. So today, Shaun and I, if you went back 10,000 years, you'd meet our ancestors. We will share a story. And we'll also ask something of you. But just before we start, this year has been quite a trial and we've all lost people. I'll just ask you to take just a few seconds to reflect on those that have gone before us and to take stock of where we are after the last few years as a community and as an industry. And I've worked in your industry, this industry, since the 1990s, and I know how hard it's hit you. Just a few moments. My grandmother would talk to the sea.
Babun, nganya, gangani, galibun bara.
It would call to her at night.
Nule gani, gangani, ngandiri.
Often it was just to say, everything will be good. It will be calm tomorrow and your children will be safe.
Gunugan, yalabu, pagoban jajam, nagaru bunyara.
But other times, it would be a warning. The winds are not happy. It will not be safe.
Gunugan, yala, wa, Yugambeh bago banyara.
And my grandmother would call back, please bring my husband and his crew home across the bar so they can stay in our house tonight and make them safe.
Nganya babun, yashga, nyubong, nyubani nganya, nganyigaya, pagupaugalan bear, ngaligaya jajam.
So as Aboriginal community, we ask the skies and the sun and the sea to protect all of those who have come here for this forum and to look after you. And in this way, our community give you a welcome to our country. And I think 10 years ago, I looked at the Commonwealth Games coming to the Gold Coast and I started working to put language into the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. We have 10 years before the Olympics. It's also the start of the UNESCO declared decade of Indigenous languages. And I don't think that's serendipity or just some coincidence. We, as an organisation, work for South East Queensland Indigenous Language Centres. We work with 10 communities to help them with language. We will be working very hard to put language into the Olympics and into everyday life for all of you. Shaun has been working hard to be the first fluent Yugambeh speaker in 80 years. And I'll just introduce Shaun in that way because he has a message just for you on behalf of the families of here.
Thank you, Rory. When I was a boy, I grew up in the northern Gold Coast, or the Albert Shire, now known as Logan City. And when I was a boy, language was everywhere, and not just my language, but other languages. There was Spanish, the family across the road spoke Ukrainian, the family down the road had history in countries. They told me that my language doesn't have an official name. They sometimes tell me it's German, they sometimes tell me it's Dutch. All around me, everyone spoke language, and I always grew up thinking that that's what made my community special, and that's what made people Australian. I actually grew up thinking, well, am I going to start speaking a language soon enough? And I loved languages. I went over to France as an exchange student, fell in love with the French language, saw some of the minority languages in the area, like Breton, which is spoken in the northeast. and I was really interested in minority languages. And I came back to Australia and I told my nan and her sister, I'm going to work on European languages. And my nan and her sister looked at me and said, well, what about our lingo? And that's what started my journey with language. It made me reflect on those younger years. And I journeyed and I came across Rory and his mother at the museum. And I guess that kind of brings it back to the theme of today, which is building on strengths. See, Rory and his mother, they worked through all the linguistic work, all the work that our elders had recorded throughout the 60s and the 80s. And I met them about 5-7 years ago now. And I've been building on that work as well, going with my grandmother to build that language back. And to me, that's where we need to bring our society. And I always look at the research that's done, and even going back to the very first Gold Coasters, Nettie Harper and William Duncan, that's where Duncan State School is named after, Harper's Wharf at Southport. They were the first 2 Gold Coasters, and they were fluent Yugambeh speakers. So the first Gold Coasters were Yugambeh speakers. And I remind people of that story because what will make us Gold Coasters again is being language speakers. Thank you.
And now it's my turn to ask you what you can do. And I stayed in a hotel, the Siebel, Maroochydore. On my bed, there was this message, Wunyan Yulum, which is welcome. And I ask you, what can you do for the next 10 years to promote language? And know that when you use language, it gives youth pride, it helps intergenerational passing on of knowledge, and it just helps people understand that we care and languages are important. 250 languages at the time of first contact, now less than 10 are spoken fluently. But I want to know what you can do to help. And right now, as I finish, there is something you can do. We have this word, and it's for the champion in the battle or the struggle. And I want you to use that word with me. It's Kyalgam. Can you say that word for me?
Kyalgam.
Kyalgam, the champion in the fight. Thank you for helping with languages and welcome to our country.